Okay, so I got a confession to make, and that confession is that I cannot dunk a basketball. I know, pretty sad, right? Anyway, all kidding aside, it's true I can't dunk a basketball. And I was thinking about that the other day. I was taking a walk, and you walk down the street, you see people with these basketball hoops set up in their yard, and the kids are outside and they're shooting baskets, and they got their adjustable height rims, and most of them are down at 8 feet. There's a bunch of small children that, playing around the yard and shooting hoops. And, makes me think to the fact that, I can't dunk a basketball. And if that type of thing bothered me, then I'd be living a pretty bothered life, because if it was something that was important to me, then I'd feel like I was lacking, right? And that lack would obviously come from the fact that there are other people who can dunk a basketball. So it makes me think of, like the duality of existence, right? Because, we come into this world and, we don't, whatever memory we might have of before this existence, it's not there, right? I mean, there's stories of people that have, children especially, that have memories of other things, but I never experienced that myself. So, I mean, other than that, we come into this world, we're taught things by our parents or whoever ends up raising us, and we don't know anything, of the world. We're taught everything, or we learn everything on our own as as we live. As we have take this journey, we live these experiences. And one thing that we notice in the what we call the free world, but it feels like everywhere I look, um, videos of people, foreign people, people living around the world. Basically, you need money to live, right? So that is to say, I mean, wherever you live, you have to pay rent or lease, or you buy a place, you have a mortgage, or even if your house is paid off, or your building is paid off or whatever, you still have to pay taxes on the property. Um, you need to buy food. Now, maybe you have something where you grow your own food, but can you grow enough for food for you to live off? Not many people probably do. So basically, you need to pay, um, to have some place to live, a roof over your head, so they say, um, food to eat, access to water. Most places you gotta, pay a water bill or something tied into it, a sewer bill, whatever the case may be. But anyway, the point is, for most people, and there are some exceptions, of course, but for most people, you have to pay to live. So, the duality comes in the fact that, you know, um, as I probably stated in an earlier video, I don't, you know, to me, I don't, chasing money or material things or the accolades of this world is not something that I look toward, you know. But unfortunately, you do need money to live. Therefore, there is a point where you do need to have money, and whether that, however you acquire it, you do need some, in order to live. How much you need, that's going to depend on, for the most part, where you live, I guess your lifestyle. Um, those are the things that would, be the variables in how much you would need, I guess, um, per week, per month, per year, whatever the case may be. So that, just in living this experience and being here, everyone, for the most part, has that thing that they do have to pay to live. So, where I look at it, from how I feel, I'm trying to live my life and be as spiritual as possible, and not get into the trappings of this place, or seek out the rewards of the place, um, or money or material things as much as possible. But at the end of the day, I realize that, that there is that duality. You need money to live. So, that's just the beginning of it. From early on, you realize that, and so I guess looking at the difficulties of living in a world that we live in, this experience, I mean, which is great. You have all these experiences, everything that we go through in this life. Um, if we're not here, if we're, let's say, spiritually somewhere else, we're not having these experiences. To me, I mean, that's how I think of it right now. Like in when my spirit, or whatever you want to call it, leaves the body. um I mean, if I don't live another lifetime here, which is possible, I guess, but if I don't do that and I go on to somewhere else and rejoin a another another phase of maybe just rejoin the whole, um so to say, um I don't think you're gonna be able to have these experiences. So I think part of part of it is enjoy the experiences, enjoy the things that you get to do. Um, the sights, the sounds, the sun, um, physical activity, feel your heart beating, these things of being alive, even sometimes, like, if you lift weights and you experience pain afterwards, a few days later or whatever, these are all signs of life, having an experience, um so you know holding on to that spiritual side, the part of you that's not here, that's going to be here, after death, or even before we came into this lifetime, but then also enjoying, you know life too at the same time. It's a balance, um because of all the duality of life, right? Like, um you see people, they talk about, like, actions versus words, like, you got to decide for yourself, like, when you talk to people, like, are they gonna, I'll give you an example. Like, if you ever had a roommate, say, for example, and you know, they take the milk out of the fridge, right? They drink the milk out of the carton, and they go, oh, ugh. You look at their face, right? And you're like, oh man, here, oh, this is terrible. Here, you try it, right? And it happens all the time. And I'm like, no thanks, I don't need. I believe you, right? You can look on their face, and just dump it down the drain. I believe you. That's one thing. That their action, the look on their face, their nonverbal cues. It tells you that, yeah, okay, what they're telling you matches, their action, or their reaction, to so to say. Whereas you could take the same roommate, and you went to the fridge, let's say, and they were in the kitchen, and you grabbed it, and you were gonna have some cereal, let's say, right? And then they stop you and they say, hey, look, that milk is no good. Well, then you gotta wonder, like, are their actions matching their words, right? Because I feel like, in my experience, like, if the person's actions and their words don't match up, it's the words that are the lie, not the actions, right? Because, I would think, like, okay, why would you tell me the milk is no good? How would you know the milk is no good? Like, if you already knew the milk was no good, why didn't you just dump it down the drain? Why would you leave it in the fridge, right? So, those type of things. Like I said, duality here is like, people, right? Their actions versus their words, and do they match up? Um, and so, as I go through this experience, like, I feel like holding on to my spiritual side, it's my actions have to match my words, right? If I promise I'm going to do something, I have to do it. Um, honor my word, and then also, not harm anyone, at the same time, or harm anyone's else's belongings, um, because in the end of the day, like like I said, like if you think that there's nothing after this life and you get one go around, then you might not have the same take. You might just, hey, I'm gonna get whatever I can, as much as I can. I'm gonna deceive as many people as possible. And guess what? On that side of the coin, that part of that duality, you might gain a whole lot from it. You know, I feel like the people that can deceive the most amount of people in this place that we're living in, they seem to get the biggest rewards, Nobel prizes, um, you know, recognition, um, of course, monetary gain, all these things. The people that can deceive the most amount of people get the most amount of rewards. I mean, it's a direct correlation to me. Is the more I look at life. But like I said, before in another video, that these other people, these things that you see on TV, on the internet, people that you see that get all the views, the huge views, people that you see on TV, these people, to me, they're not real. It's just they're just pictures on a screen. Um, that their experience is not my experience anyway. So it wouldn't even matter if I knew the person. Their experience is not mine. So I'm not gonna try to be or be that person or be anything like them or anything. I mean, even if the person was seemingly living the life that I feel is ideal, well, that's their experience. It's not my experience. If I see someone, you know, having something good happening in their life, and maybe it's not going so good for me, um, I'm not going to be upset about it, because like I said, that's their experience. It's not mine. So I think it's like that saying, right? Know thyself. It's attributed to like the Greeks. And again, were the Greeks even real? Who can say, right? All we have are textbooks, right? Written by people in X time frame, from maybe 100, 200, maybe 300 years ago, of a people that lived supposedly thousands of years ago, right? So how are we supposed to know, right? I mean, what can we gather? What can we see? Evidence of things that are actually around and how they're attributed to a certain age, but we don't know how old certain structures are. Um, but anyway, like I said, it's like know thyself, right? So know that you are that timeless, being, right? That there was something before you came here, your spirit came here into this body, and there's going to be something when you go out of here, whether it's another lifetime, whether it's something beyond that, you know, um, and just know that, you have both, right? Like I said in the beginning, I can't dunk a basketball, and it's okay, but that's not my experience. My experience is not to do that. So, knowing myself, it's among a lot of other things I'm sure I couldn't do, um, you know, as well as someone else, or there's things I can do better than other people, but it's just knowing myself, right? And that's only just for this experience anyway, for this limited time that I'm here, and using this body to have the experience. But at the same time, it's like Charles Barkley once famously said, he can dunk a basketball, but he's not a role model. Drug dealers can dunk a basketball too. And the only reason why I say that is because, like, going back, it's being able to do something, not being able to do something. Like, I don't think that someone should feel bad for me if they can dunk a basketball and I can. It doesn't really matter, right? Because again, it's not my experience to do that, and it's okay. I don't care. I know my limitation of that. You know, um, but as long as I'm here, I'm gonna do the best I can. It's like renting a car. I feel like we're just renting this body that we're using, for this time that we're here, for this experience. And when you rent a car, you don't go wreck it, right? You take care of it, you return it. Maybe better than you found it. Maybe you fill up more gas than what it had when you took it out. But like I said, it's just a matter of, I think, holding that to yourself, know thyself, right? Um, Accepting the duality of existence while you live here. Enjoy the experience, um, and just go through life and just try to hold on to that spiritual side, and be the best person you can be for here and for whatever's next. And guess that's about it. I guess I will talk again later. Okay, thanks.